is not from this world. But if you carefully listen while I talk, it will be very crystal clear. Like this he was, in so many subtle ways, he was urging the listeners to become extremely attentive and extremely dedicated to the subject of presentation. You can see that also in his writings. If you want to understand the statement of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, I'm reading the last 10 years this time, so now it becomes easier, but you have to read 10, 20, 30 times the same statement, and then after 1 month you have to read again, and after 1 month again, and then slowly you get the full understanding of what's written there. That's how difficult it is to come out of Maya. It's not so easy to come out of Maya. We have to pay the price. We have to pay the price. Another statement here. About chanting Hari Kirtan. We have been chanting 1 hour and a half. Let's see what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. That's just one quote, he has many more quotes. A chanter of Hari Kirtan is necessarily the uncompromising enemy of worldliness and hypocrisy. It is his constant function. This Hari Kirtan is his constant function to dispel all the misconceptions by preaching the truth in its most unambiguous form. Pure Bhakti. Without any consideration of person, place or time. The form to be adopted is that which is least likely to be misunderstood. That means it has to be very pure-hearted, otherwise we are chanting, but it cannot change anyone's heart. It's just some sweet sound moving in the room, you know. And then again we go on, and we can go in the routine. But what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati here said, quality Hari Kirtan can change his Kali Yuga up and down. It can remove his Kali Yuga like this, tick, if it is pure. That's the mission which Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He prayed to Krishna, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I have so many writing words. The whole Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition has been polluted. I have to bring it back to the basic standards, but I have no time to execute it in a larger way. So send me a pure devotee, a ray of Vishnu, who can execute again my work in a larger way. Studying also Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote in 1892, he said, the day will come that the Russians and the Britishers and the Indians and the Americans all together will chant the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is 90 years almost, right? 80 years before it happened. So we become restless that after 5 years our plans, what we have for preaching, it is not much manifesting. Or after 10, 20 years it doesn't manifest what we want. But you see these acharyas, they work with such a big vision. Their unbreakable vision they have. Even when nothing manifests before their eyes, they not shake. But we are not like that. There's no way we change something, we give up the mission. You know. They're not. They keep that burning desire all the time, burning. And then again, in waves, the Sankirtan movement goes with waves. Sometimes it's very dynamic, sometimes it slows down. Again it comes dynamic, it goes in waves. See? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has seen he could not do everything, so send me a pure devotee and who can further execute them. And again, then also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he was looking for somebody who could bring it to the West. So one day, how far away from this time, he wrote in 1920 or 1930, there comes a personality and he will do the whole job. He will go to the West and bring the whole world back. And that's what's happening. And it's just happening. It's going on. That's Prabhupada. So, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur had given a specific mission for two things to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He says, you establish Sudhanam. You explain to the people what is pure chant. So for that, at one point, we remember, he did for, says, I have to preach this. So at the age of 31, he took the vow to chant 1 billion names. And that's how many rounds a day? For 9 years. He did that? How many rounds a day?
192.
Yes. How many rounds we are trying to chant every day? 16 rounds. He chanted every day 192 rounds. And what he was eating? He was just eating the rice which is boiled in cow urine, which is boiled by the sunshine, not with fire. This is how determined. We should not try to imitate this or feel bad when we cannot do it. We will never be able to. Don't worry, we don't have that dedication mood yet. But by hearing that, we are getting that. We are developing that. That's so powerful to discuss this. It's extremely, it touches our heart, and at one day it will really start working our bhakti much more. So he did, and it took 9 years, and then he took up the preaching, and he did miracles. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So he established this Sudhanam, and also you set up Varnashram Dharma. That's a big issue in Hinduism. Oh, caste system, everybody's scared to touch the subject, even in ISKCON. But that's in order. We cannot be too much concerned about the vox populi, about the opinion of the public, because they will never be satisfied unless they get pure bhakti. Prabhupada said there is a big section in the writings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Vox Dei or Vox Populi. We are interested in Vox Dei, the voice of God. And when He is happy with what we do, even when we get beatings from the public, but when Krishna is happy, this is success. It's better to get beatings from the public, but the blessing of Govinda, than we get the so-called blessing of the public, but the beatings of Govinda, right? If he is not happy with us, then our bhakti goes away. And that's horrible. That's the biggest disaster for the soul. So it says you give this Sudhanam and you establish Varnashram Dharma. So, why that is necessary, although we are not designation, Brahmane, Kshatriya, Vaishyane, Sudrane, but it is required for the bigger setup to get people at least familiar with their inclinations, either as an intellectual, either as an administrator, either as a business inclination or agriculture, or either as a simply assistant of everybody else. That is, unless these four are established in human society, there will be never a peaceful social life. It's given by God. And on that basis, unless there is peace, we cannot start practicing Krishna consciousness. Although it's not the essence, Varnashram is not the essence. But it is the base by which you can start practicing Krishna consciousness. And again, that is based on simple living high thinking, on agricultural economics. But how much, as devotees, we understand? We are so controlled by that capitalistic idea from childhood. And that's where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati hammers on so many points. Because if we understood it, ISKCON would look different, I tell you. Hare Krishna movement would look totally different. Everywhere we will do many more things. See? So I continue this statement here, a bit about Hare Krishna. It is his bounden duty to clearly and frankly oppose any person who tries to deceive and harm himself and others by misrepresenting the truth. Whether due to malice or genuine misunderstanding. And there are two types of groups in the world who consciously wants to deviate the people from truth, or who by genuine misunderstanding deviate. Innocently they deviate by insufficient intelligence, spiritually, they deviate from the truth. There are two sections. There's another section who crystal clear know how to deviate the public. And that the devotee has to attack all of that. This will be possible if the chanter of kirtan is always prepared to submit to being trodden upon by. It's a very strong language. You just hear it and again try today. Always prepared to submit to being trodden upon by thoughtless people, if such discomfort will enable him to benefit his persecutors. He calls persecutors. Devotees might become persecuted if they come out strong with the truth, but we have to tolerate this. By chanting of the truth in the most unambiguous manner. If he is unwilling, if the devotee doesn't want to do this, if he is unwilling or afraid of considerations of self-respect or personal discomfort to chant kirtan under all circumstances, he is unfit to be a preacher of the absolute truth. I don't know what you feel, but it's quite confronting on my heart. Shall I read it again, just, and then I go to the life. This will be possible if the chanter of Kirtana is always prepared to submit to being given trouble upon by thoughtless people, if such discomfort will enable him to benefit his persecutors by chanting of the truth in the most unambiguous manner. If he is unwilling or afraid of consideration of self-respect or personal discomfort to chant Kirtan under all circumstances, he is unfit to be a preacher of the absolute truth. It's quite intense. Anyway, just presentation. So, for the rest I will start going from childhood through the life of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Some question?
Yeah, it's just that you have divided the presentation in different sections.
Yeah.
And it's
big
difficult to remember our questions when it is. Maybe we could have a little session after each section with questions, because when otherwise it's difficult to remember in the end, because there are so many points.
So many points are there, right? It's a huge subject, but so interesting. Maybe we can go back to that or give some courses on that sometimes. It's just giving some glimpses. Huh? Anyone has a question already?
It's because you were saying that Krishna consciousness would look very differently if we were able to live a more simple life, and we were able to really give up many things and live according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's teachings. But in Srila Prabhupada's life, you can see how he preached so much to life members, very, very rich people in Mumbai and all over the world, and how Prabhupada actually just used whatever facilities that were given, Cadillacs or whatever facilities. So we don't see it in Srila Prabhupada's life that from the beginning until now he only pushed this self-sufficient farm communities and this very, very simple life. I don't know if I'm misunderstanding the point that you made before.
That is very good point. Both things should go simultaneously. 50%, 50%.
But are they not also going simultaneously in our ISKCON society? Because Prabhupada, he wanted the self-sufficient farm in Vrindavan, he very much wanted that. and also
Right.
other places Prabhupada has pushed this, but Prabhupada also at the same time was giving us all these huge fancy temples in the cities, in Delhi, in Mumbai. Like,
Yes.
you look at Yuhu temple, it's like so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So if Prabhupada only wanted us to be on self-sufficient farm, ecological farm communities, then why should he push
Yeah.
on the Yuhu temple, for example?
Yeah, it's not a question of, that's not the point, that it's only that, but to get Varnashram and Dharma Daivi flourishing for the public, that is in, like, projects like New Vrindavan was so dear to him. He said that is the second part of my mission. And of course, the Acharyas, they see in the long term, but that we see that will be the future, that will be the powerful revolution, like who is BBT in charge?
Where?
BBT in charge.
When now?
No, in Prabhupada's time.
Rameswaram?
Yeah. He says, Prabhupada told me, the day will come, by the millions the people come to our Hare Krishna farms. So that is where Varnashram Dharma we can show to the people the physical, practical application. And of course we have also our powerful centers in the city. So we want club and chakra, we want 2 weapons, not just one. So I start from the life, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, from the beginning of the life of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He was called upon by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, send me a ray of Vishnu. So he had many children, and one of them was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Bimala Prasad. So when he was born, he had the umbilical cord was around his neck, like a Brahman tail. And the astrologer, when he saw the baby, he said, this personality has the 32 symptoms of a Mahapurush, of a great personality. The bodily symptoms, that is all there in the Vedic science. In the West, nobody understands this. And we claim to be so intelligent. Right? So, but immediately it was recognized by the qualified astrologer that this personality is a very great personality, and he will be on top of the world. When he was 3 years old, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he brought mangoes back, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, because mango is a symbol of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took this mango, wanted to eat. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as a real spiritual father, says, my dear son, don't you know, you cannot eat anything what comes in the house unless it is offered to Krishna. That's not good. Please put back that. After his marriage, you can eat it. Then, as a small boy, just 3 years old, but already he immediately understood the point. He says, oh, my father, I'm a great offender. From today onward, 3-year-old boy, I will never ever touch mango anymore. So Prabhupada used to recall throughout the life that whenever we offered Guru Maharaj a mango, he says, no, I cannot take, I'm an offender. That was the consequence. Prabhupada says, what is the offense of a child, a small baby, when he takes? There is no offense. But this baby was special. And that you can already see his extremely sharp consciousness. Very sharp consciousness. Very alert, very conscious what has to be done in Krishna consciousness. Actually, whenever, at the age of 7, he already memorized the whole Bhagavad Gita. And any 7 years old boy, any sloka, he could give a lecture on that very effectively, very convincingly. Then when Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to have on Sunday a gathering of important people under the banner Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha. What names he uses. And Vishwa Vaishnava means the universal devotees. Vishwa Vaishnava. And Sabha means is the assembly who advises the top government. So the assembly who should advise are devotees. And he's called it Raja Sabha, kingly Sabha, because only the pure devotees can do that. And exactly like in Yudhishthira Maharaj's time. That's why this culture was so functioning perfectly, and not like today, crazy. So he had on Sunday he gave a discourse on Bhagavatam, and Bhaktisiddhanta, a small boy, he was always sitting in the class, and everyone is stunned by his extreme concentration power on the subject. They could see on the eyes of this boy that he totally he absorbed the subject so fast and so intensely, so perfectly, as a small boy. So of course then when he went to school, he never studied much. But whatever the teacher, he never studied in the house again the subject what they taught in the school, because he already had digested the whole thing, just by hearing one time. So whenever the teacher asked him, he could give the perfect answer. So from childhood he was already recognized as a very brilliant boy. Then when he grew older, he wrote all types of books, whatever was there, he read. And he had a Srutidar memory. That means he has a book and he reads 5 pages, he put it aside, he can say the 5 pages again as it is. That was the memory of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So he was already from that time studying all types of books to understand what's going on in the society. And then whoever he met intellectuals, they started debating, and he was always defeated them. He was very feared for that also. Then at one point, as I told before, he defeated one of the most brilliant brains in that time on the universities. And from that time he was very much respected. Everybody started reading his writings. Then he started these 2 magazines, Harmonist and the Gaudiya. Then later on he had it in different languages. And he had 2 types of people. People who hated him and people who totally wanted to support him. There was nothing between. Who wanted to attack his statements. Right? But he came out always totally victorious. If you read the articles in the Harmonious, they're very sharp. Immediately to the points of society, what's going on, immediately pointing out what is the weakness, what should be improved, what is illusion there, what is cheating there. And some they were very impressed and happy, and some they didn't like it. Then at one point he was being advised by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you take initiation of Gaurkishore Das Babaji. That's also a very special situation, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was such a high intellectual, and now he has to take initiation of a devotee who cannot even put a signature. He doesn't know to put his own signature. He didn't know how to read and write, nothing. How he can become a guru of such a brilliant personality? So when he went, you can see the extreme humility. When he went to Gaurkishore Babaji, he had full faith in his father, that he said that is the only pure devotee, or almost one of the pure devotees who is around here in Bengal. And so he went and he asked for initiation. He says, initiation? You're such an educated person, and I'm just sitting in the forest here, sitting. I cannot get initiation, Go search somewhere else. Then after some time he came back, he said, no, I want you to give me initiation. Otherwise, there is no meaning in my life if I don't have a spiritual master who can guide me to Krishna. He says, why are you asking me? Anyway, I will ask Gauranga. And then he came back again, and he said, and he asked again for initiation. He says, oh, I forgot to ask. Like this, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he became very nervous. And then the last time, he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, I should not give you initiation. Then he started crying. Big educated personality started crying. He says, I know, I'm always after name and fame. I am full with false ego. I am so educated, I'm always busy for the welfare, I know, Guru Maharaj. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has sent these pure devotees in my life to save me from this false ego. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and you. So I'm so fortunate. But if you don't give me shelter, I cannot maintain my life. And he gives that song, Rochandas Thakur, I think. Na prana, Kandiya, Gurudev, Kripa, Bindodeya. He took that line. And then Gaurkishore Das Babaji, he saw that he was breaking down. And then he got scared. He said, okay, you come tomorrow, I give you initiation. So then later on, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he writes, yeah, Gaurkishore Das Babaji has so kindly destroyed my false ego by delaying my initiation. Because I was too much proud of my qualifications. And he has made me fully humble. So then he was still continuing with his, university work. But then at one point, Gaurkishore Das Babaji, he told, now, my Prabhu, he called Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, my Prabhu. He didn't say, my come disciple, come here. He said, my Prabhu, now I want you to totally establish the absolute truth in the world, and everything else you have to leave aside. Just one line. And see what he has done, Bhaktisiddhanta, and what he is still doing. This is perfect disciple. We have to hear again and again and try to understand what Guru wants from me. How shall I execute it? But Bhaktisiddhanta had to just hear one line and he knew what to do. It's revealed within the heart how it manifests. Because that strong attachment to Guru and the mission. So then he gave up his position in the university and he fully concentrated on editing and printing the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That was the first thing. Then he started, after Bhaktivinoda Thakur left his body, Toshani, Sayan, Toshani, I think that's, he continued it with the name The Harmonist. And he made that magazine very popular, and he started the Gaudiya Math. It was the personal movement of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati with the purpose of protecting this Sudha Bhakti. Amazingly, how highly qualified, very authoritative, really the master amongst everybody. But he never called his disciples my disciples. He always said, Dasosmi, I am your servant. He said, if the Guru thinks he has disciples, he falls down. And if the Guru not take care of his disciples, he's not a Guru. These kind of statements. He said always, you are being sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to assist me. And Prabhupada used the same mood.